23rd. It is 7. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Charlie Davidson.
Here.
George Glover.
Here.
Ben Saucetta.
Here.
Charles Schwenke.
Here.
Tom Jones.
Here.
George Capps.
Here.
Brandy Bailey.
Here.
Jim Schrader.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. If everybody would stand, Councilman Davison will lead us in invocation, and Chief Boston will lead the pledge.
You can bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this city, God, that we have, and Lord, just how you work continually through this city. I pray that tonight, Lord, this council would base their decisions on your principles, God, and that we would base them on principles to do the best for Park City. I pray that you continue to guide our leadership, our city administrator, directors, to continue to lead and direct this city to be the best they can possibly be. And God, that we would just make our way, your ways, our ways. And Lord, we would just base it all on your principles. Lift this night up to you. Pray for our police officers, that they continue to work and keep our city safe, that you keep them safe. God, pray and ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. Okay, we'll start out with approval of the agenda. We do need to add an executive session. Doug, do you want to put in the, when we add this, what we want to do it for at this point, or do you want to wait? Item 13. Brandy.
I move to approve the agenda and add item 13, executive session.
Thank you. Jim?
I'd second that.
A motion by Brandy, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. All right. A awards and presentation tonight. Deanna?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are fortunate this evening for a promotion within our police department. Would Detective Aaron Miller please come forward? Detective Aaron Miller started his career with the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office in 2009, where he worked until 2020. He held the positions of detention deputy, patrol deputy, public information officer, person crimes detective, and detective over the intelligence unit. Detective Miller was hired by the Park City Police Department in 2020 in the position of Police Officer 2. He was promoted to the rank of detective in June of 2021, and he serves as backup public information officer for the police department as well. Detective Miller was appointed as the Kansas Intelligence Association District 12 coordinator during his tenure at Sedgwick County, and he continues to serve in that capacity. Since being assigned to investigations, he has handled cases in our own court, district court, and federal court. He works closely with the ATF and other local enforcement agencies to help slow gun violence in the Sedgwick County, Wichita, and Park City area, and to keep crime guns off the street. Detective Miller acts as the liaison for our area, dealing with law enforcement from almost every state. He has successfully connected cases around, too much here. He does so much. Connected cases around the United States, which were ultimately adopted by our federal partners. Detective Miller holds a bachelor's degree of science in criminal justice, a master's degree of science in strategic leadership. He is state certified forensic crime scene and serious accident reconstructionist and mapper, and he has completed the KU Public Management, Law Enforcement, Leadership Academy, and numerous other trainings. We are so happy to announce this evening that he is being promoted to the rank of Detective Sergeant.
I'm gonna move. You're fine, you're fine.
And while he moves forward, I just want to say again how fortunate we are to have Detective Miller. As you can see, he has quite the resume, and we have a great police department with very qualified individuals.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Might want to check that for tax.
No, watch me. Okay, we have nobody signed up for public forum. Staff reports, Sean.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple updates tonight. The first one, I'm going to slow play, see if I can get this right first and foremost. In the second annual Battle of the Blood Drive competition between Park City and Valley Center, where it was a valiant effort on the part of both communities, and the true winners are the Red Cross and the dozens of people that will be positively impacted by the life-saving efforts of more than 92 pints, an estimate of 276 lives that could be impacted. Well, let's just say this, Valley Center is never going to be able to fly their flag over this city hall again. Park City won, collecting 4 more pints than Valley Center. They may have had more people, but they didn't collect more bud. And as a result, Valley Center will be hosting a barbecue for all the employees from both cities, as well as the volunteers from the Red Cross somewhere to be held in one of their parks here in the near future. So that's the big news for tonight. Just found that out. That was yesterday. Let's see. Also this past week, we had a public meeting for those interested in seeing or weighing in on the proposed or recommended improvements for each of the city's parks as far as the Parks Master Plan. The good news is every slide or graphic that was presented during that evening has also been captured in an online survey that will be opened up for the next 30 days on our city website. So if residents are interested and want to say in what goes into those final plans, we encourage them to get on the city's website and take that survey. A couple months ago, it's been nearly that long since I've updated you on 1915 Fairchild. The last time when I updated you, I told you about a new home builder that was in the process of buying the home, but yet he was helping the existing homeowners make it through the probate process, a rather lengthy process. Well, just as of yesterday, he updated us that the court date is a week away from Thursday, where he should be able to clear probate on behalf of the homeowners, and then he'll take over home ownership and start making the renovations on that property, which is much more preferred than tearing down the place. So that's good news. Other starts around the community. Thursday is the start date for AirCap Drive extension. Andale is the one who has a contract on that, so Thursday is the start date. The Beaumont Street extension had its final walkthrough inspection earlier this afternoon and is now open, connecting Newport to Beaumont Street. And then just upcoming community events. Naturally, we knew this because of the proclamation at the last meeting, but this week is the National Public Works Week. We appreciate them every day. Park City Serve Day is Sunday, May 28th from 9 a.m. to noon. Anybody interested in helping out with that can contact New Anthem Church at 260-5048 or sending an email to info@newanthemchurch.com. The Park City Administration Center will be closed on Monday, May 29th in observance of Memorial Day. The citywide spring garage sale is 2 Saturdays from now on June 3rd. The Park City Fishing Derby is on June 17th, but I'm going to let Councilmember Glover give more information on that at the end of the meeting because we know he will. And then, of course, finally, we'll have our 4th of July spectacular on the 4th in Hap McLean Park. So that's all I have tonight, sir.
Next, we have consent agenda. I would entertain a motion. Oh, you have a question?
So, yeah, sorry, the AirCap Drive extension you're talking about, that's the 53rd to 61st Street area?
That is correct.
Okay.
Just north of Atwoods to south of McDonald's.
Okay.
Connection of it.
Sweet, and then Jacksonville and 61st.
Jacksonville and 61st.
Yeah, they're the quick trip intersection there. We're having problems again, it looks like, with the,
Yes, we are.
But-
Public Works is working with Andale because they were the ones that, and again, it is a rather touchy subject because we have seen them out there now 3 different times making improvements to that, and yet it still seems to not be holding up. I do know, again, I applaud the commitment of Andale because they are a Park City company, and they gave us a 7-year warranty on it that they continue to do. It's not looking well, that it has flaked off. I do know that that intersection has had previous problems with groundwater there, and that has created part of the problems, because one of the, at a future recommendation will be utilize Andale services for the roundabouts as far as coloring that, but that's difficult to do right now because it hasn't lived up to what they've expected. Our Public Works is in touch with them about every 2 to 3 weeks to say, hey, what's the next phase? What's the next phase? So,
and I think that's just important, so the public
Yes,
is
sir.
aware, says, I know I get feedback on that intersection quite a bit, and I think
Yes,
it's
sir.
good for them to be made aware that Public Works is on the job.
yes, sir.
And also important to know that the repairs are not costing us anything.
No,
That's
not
part
at
of
all.
what they're
That's
standing.
like I said, Andale is a very reputable company, and they stand behind it and have so far on the 3 repairs to date.
Thank you. George Capps.
I see that they've now got the traffic lights ready down on 53rd Street
Yes, sir.
there at Arby's. And my question was, I see them busy up there around 53rd and I-135. Are they getting ready to put lights in up there?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
There is a total of 3 different intersections. It's not only at 53rd and Air Cap, right there where the Arby's is at, but it is on both on and off ramps of 53rd and 135.
That's great, because
Yes, sir.
those things are needed.
Yes, sir.
Also important to say on that one, those are temporary.
That's the reason why they're wooden telephone poles for right now. They are temporary just so that future improvements can be made to that overall intersection that was outlined in the traffic engineering assessment program about a year ago.
Okay.
TEEP study that had the divergent diamond intersection there, but
Yes, sir.
really that intersection, I mean, it's pretty heavily traveled before now, but with the North Junction traffic, a lot of people are trying to avoid the construction through there, and they're exiting on 96 at Hydraulic, coming up to 53rd and coming across. So very congested
Yes.
area through there.
And speaking of it didn't make it into my report, but we got an email earlier this afternoon from Tom Heim, who's the Public Affairs Officer for KDOT. Next Thursday, I believe what's the date on that, the 31st? Wednesday, the 31st?
Yeah.
At 10:30 in the morning, there is a grand opening ceremony for the northbound 135 going across over to the southbound 235. It's the high one that you see. But they're having the grand opening ceremony at 10:30 in the morning, right there on Wednesday, the 31st.
That'll be a 2-lane ramp that'll carry traffic from 135 over to 235.
Yes.
2 lanes.
That will solve the bottleneck.
Hopefully, expected to, so.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. George Capps.
Me?
Yeah.
So moved.
I guess you were already on from the last one, I'm sorry.
I never cleared the other one.
Okay, we have a motion by George. Jim.
Second that.
Okay, motion by George Capps, seconded by Jim Schroeder. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Move on to item 4, new business. Discuss and consider economic incentive for Equiset LLC. Dominic.
Dom wasn't able to make it tonight, sir, so I'll throw this up. Back in January, TCRS LLC made application for property tax exemption for economic development purposes with the intention to purchase the existing commercial facility that we know as Hartman Arena, located at 8151 North Hartman Arena Drive. They completed the required tax abatement cost benefit analysis, and even based on 100% abatement, projected a positive benefit to cost ratio of 1.44. And based on Resolution 870-2013, Park City's incentive policy, qualified for property tax exemptions based on the capital investment as well as new job creation. The proposed purchaser is wanting to purchase the land in the building under a different name, though, than what they had originally outlined. They originally had outlined TCRS, and now they want to purchase it under a different corporation, Equiset LLC. So we reached out to Gilmore and Bell, and they indicated that, yes, you have to go back through the program process, have an updated resolution, and so that's what's included in your packet tonight. It's just, and that's the only thing that has changed. The cost-benefit analysis remains the same. I will sit there and say that since this was approved back in January, staff has worked with the applicant as well as Gilmore and Bell regarding the concerns that council expressed earlier about giving 100% tax abatement for a second go-round, and is proposing a stair step where it starts off initially at 100% for the first half of the abatement, but then steps down to 90%, 80%, and finally, the last year, 70% of the year for the abatement. So Gilmore and Bell will work with the applicants. It is important to note that as of today is when the applicants actually closed on the property earlier this afternoon, so it is now in their name. But again, the supporting documentation in your packet is just so that it changes to Equiset from TCRS LLC. And I'll stand for any questions if you have any.
Ben?
Did the, I was looking through here, did the owners, did the ownership group stay the same?
Yes,
Okay, so they're just, same group of people that owned the original application,
correct.
just formed a new LLC?
And that's why we didn't have to go back through everything to figure out it's no change in ownership. It's just a different that entity has several corporations that they could have licensed it under or bought it under, so.
Okay, and I appreciate you all looking into seeing differences in terms of the
Stair
abatement
step, yes, sir.
there. Now, and did you just end at 70 just because that was where you, or? it
Over
would
the
go down-
time period.
It would go down to
stepped
50
Stepped
by
it
the
down
time
from
it-
100% to 90 to 70. So if you just look at how we broke that out, 100% for the first half of the abatement, and then stair step it down 2 years, 2 years, and 1 year. That's the way that it came out.
Okay, okay. I think I would probably be more in favor of getting it from 90 to 80, 70, 60 to 50, and taking it down incrementally each year than 2 years at 90, 2 years at 80, and 1 at 70. Just because, again, from a taxpayer perspective, we've done a lot in terms of abatements once. Second time, we also do know that the valuation process, or the valuation, estimated evaluation is gonna go down significantly, so there's already a lower amount of taxation there. And then thirdly, with that as well, and my brain is moving a little slower today. They get money every year in terms of the operations from CNT. So I think just in terms of being responsible as we move forward, I would think I would be more of in favor of a annual step down.
Thank you, Ben. Anybody else? And remember, tonight, we're not deciding on how much of abatement we're giving. We're just gonna decide yes or no that we are going to do abatement. Brandy?
I move to approve Resolution 1154-2023, a resolution of the governing body of the City of Park City, Kansas, determining the advisability of issuing taxable industrial revenue bonds for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and equipping of a commercial facility to be located in the city, and authorizing execution of related documents.
Excuse me, Mayor, you need to have a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. Okay. Hold that motion. Okay. It's 7:21. We'll open this item for public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to come forward and speak on this matter? See nobody come forward, we'll close the hearing at 7:21 also. Thank you for catching that. Brandy?
Do I need to reread the motion?
No, I don't think you do. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Do we have any further comments? Okay, hearing none. We have a motion by Brandy, seconded by Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Move to item 5, discuss and consider documents initiating the special assessment process for establishing the public hearing date for Ironstone Village Edition, High Ridge Second Editions, and Prairie Hills Edition, Phase 6. Larry.
Good evening, Larry Kleeman, Ranson Financial, city's financial advisor. Is it on? Good. For helping with various bond issues and tip notes. A couple years ago, we issued the 2021 temp note for various infrastructure improvements in these subdivisions, Ironstone Village, High Ridge Second, Prairie Hills Edition. That was for street, water, sewer. And so those temp notes temporarily financed it. Now that the projects are complete, we're ready to permanently bond finance these projects. And the plan is to issue a bond in August. Before we do that, though, we need to go through a special assessment process. The idea is that the debt service on these bond payments will be paid totally from special assessments levied on the various property owners that benefit from the street, water, and sewer. So state law requires you to go through the special assessment process. Step one is tonight, accepting the various costs. I've been in touch with city staff, and we've gathered all the costs for these projects and put together the allocation of assessments to all the various properties. And so that is in your packet. And then tonight you can accept those documents and schedule a hearing for next month, June 27th, at which any property owner can come and comment on those proposed specials. After that hearing closes, you'll adopt an ordinance, officially levying the assessments. And then a month or two later, we'll actually have the bond sale. Any questions on that? Otherwise, it's a motion to accept the documents and prepare for next month's hearing.
Thank you, Larry. Jim.
I don't have any questions. So I would move to approve Exhibit A, Statement of Final Cost, Exhibit B, Assessment Roll Certification, Exhibit C, Notice of Public Hearing, Exhibit D, Form of Notice of Public Hearing, and Statement of Cost proposed to be assessed, and established June 27th, 2023 at 7 p.m. to meet for the purpose of hearing any and all written or oral objections to the respective assessments set forth therein.
Thank you, Jim. Ben?
Second.
Do we have any further comments? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Move to item 6, discuss and approve RFP for water meter replacement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Park City is currently operating on several different meter reading systems and a variety of meter brands. Manual meter reading and faulty Verizon read meters result in 3 to 4 employees taking approximately 7 business days to accomplish. Errors and inaccuracies result in the need to reread meters, adding additional staff time to that task. In April of 2017, the governing body approved the first purchase of electronic meters from Metron. We often refer to these as our Verizon read meters. However, the KDHE recommended meter swap program was occurring even prior to that purchase. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that, that's a recommendation from KDHE to replace 100 meters a year. And this is to help reduce water loss within the system. But the city is losing ground and losing technology at that rate of replacement. And while I would like to applaud the governing body for being extremely progressive in their purchase of electronic equipment, the equipment and the cellular component has proven to be problematic even after upgrades and repairs have been performed by the vendor. Due to aging or damaged equipment, obsolete equipment such as the 2G and 3G meters, and employee constraints, staff recommends advertising an RFP for a total water meter replacement program utilizing an AMI system. AMI is capable of obtaining readings in real time has built-in alarms for leaks and high usage, contains a dashboard to monitor the status of the meters, provides access to residents to an online portal to view their own water usage, and allows for monthly readings to occur with the touch of a button, so to speak. We can get reads within the hour as opposed to within the month. Staff also recommends the system installation to occur by the winning bidder in a timeframe not to exceed 12 months from the execution of a contract, and therefore will require the governing body to have a difficult discussion on a funding mechanism for this unbudgeted item. Ideally, with an approximate cost of $1.5 million, a 15-year general obligation bond would be a likely solution. The RFP included in your packet serves as an example, but is subject to change, so I'm not technically asking you to approve the RFP. One example of a change would be writing in an alternate or an add alternate bid for a no moving parts meter, which is also known as an ultrasonic meter for our 2-inch meters and above. Currently, the larger meters cannot account for approximately the first 3 gallons of usage, and this results in us doing a double meter install for the low flow and the high flow. But the ultrasonic meter, similar to the handout that you just received, can detect low flow volumes almost immediately, so we're not losing on that water usage. We would be looking for your commitment to a funding mechanism prior to advertising an RFP. I present this now for your discussion and consideration, and I stand for any questions you may have.
Jim?
So we had the old manually read meters, and we were upgrading them to, the Verizon meters, which were the greatest thing when we were talking about them, and now we're finding out that the technology isn't working, and it's actually causing more problems.
That's correct.
Well, that's just horribly disappointing, because we spend a lot of money on those every year for years. So through the RFP process, it should be addressed that how these new replacement meters are going to prevent that from happening again.
The RFP, as you've seen, actually has it written in that they would be required to have their own frequency. They could not operate off of the cellular concept.
Okay? It's a technology thing, so I'll have to get stepped through that, but we thought we were ahead of that the last time, but I guess it is what it is, and we got to deal with it. It's just disappointing to have to spend that kind of money. I would also make this comment that it's $1.5 million. We could hire another employee cheaper to go read meters than to replace these.
Yeah, there's some additional technology benefits to it. It's not just our initial reads. It's having to do rereads when those initial reads aren't coming back properly. It's having loss of water tracking. I mean, we're literally losing money because we're not able to actually track the water usage that's occurring.
Fair point,
Some
yeah.
of these new meters, these ultrasonic ones, they don't have any moving parts. And so you eliminate that component when it comes to repairing or replacing a meter. It has a higher sensitivity to detect that water usage. It also has a better warranty. It has a 5-year full and then a 5-year prorated warranty on those parts. I know I've gotten a little off topic here on your original comment, but I think we're in a time where technology is critical to our success. And so some of these meters do have the ability to be shut off when we have disconnect day. We're not having to send somebody out to disconnect that meter and reconnect that meter when they finally pay. And so staffing constraint is a real issue. It's one that we're struggling to overcome, and it's not one that seems to be remedying itself anytime soon. And so while I agree that we could bring more people on staff, I think we lose out on technology, we lose out on revenue from the water, and we lose out on that connection with our citizens for them to be involved and proactive in their water usage or their water loss.
I sure see the benefit from it, and I like the idea of the technology. That's why I was in favor of all these past ones we did, so I'm just kind of disappointed we have to talk about it again, and especially that kind of money. And anything anybody did, it's technology, and just got to think our way through it. So that's my only point, is I kind of want to really think through that and understand all of our options. I mean, you made a comment about what the state's recommending too, and there's a lot of compliance issues that I'm sure you have to deal with. So I'm listening, just comments.
I just want to ask a question on something that you mentioned that I was going to hit on anyway, but so these meters would be the type that you can remotely shut off from, say, City Hall?
Correct.
Turn back on?
There are two different types, yes. I think we would actually prefer to have the majority of them be the type that don't, because the type that do are approximately $75 more a meter. We would put those in difficult areas, repetitive areas.
But we're not using so much staff time to turn the meters off and on throughout the month.
Right. If we have a property that becomes an issue in compliance, we could always swap out for that other meter.
Thank you. Tom?
I was gonna say, this is something I've been pushing for quite some time. And when we started pushing for this, it was $1 million, and it's been over 10 years ago. You say we can get more meter readers. Well, maybe and maybe not. That's been an issue in the past. Weather's an issue, early reading, late reading. I get phone calls, people watch their meter time, and they call me when somebody's out there reading their meter early or late because they know they're going to get charged for water. It's just the nature of the beast. If they run on a minimum every month, they know if you get read a week late, then they're going to pay more than the minimum, and they call me. So this is a plus. I got one question. Will this be read from City Hall, or will you have to drive to the neighborhood? Is it going to be pole monitor, or?
This would not be a drive-by. This would be at City Hall. It would literally be pushing a button to collect that data.
See, right now, that can take 2 weeks to get all of them in. I think, I don't know how long it takes a meter reader these days to go around all of Park City, and then you get misreads and you get missed reads and stuff, so I just think it's a plus to go this way and do it.
Thank you, Tom. Charles?
Yeah, we went through this in Colby, and we went through several different meters, before we finally landed on one. But it was several years ago, and I know the technology's improved since then. But one of the things that we really noticed was how much more revenue we were able to pick up on low flow. And because the old mechanicals just basically didn't turn the impeller, when water was just barely moving, High flow was another thing, that it wasn't measured correctly. And as you know, it's hard to get employees right now. Everybody has a labor shortage. And I know that if you have 4 people involved in reading these things, what'd you say, it takes a couple of weeks to get them all read, or?
Takes a
Technology, because it works, it saves time, and I think in the long run, it'll save money by saving employee time and then also being able to collect for the water that you actually sell.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you. Brandy?
How many meters do we have in the city?
So we currently have approximately 3,800. We're projected to have a few more hundred onto the system by the time this RFP would be complete, just from new development.
And we're replacing at a rate of approximately 100 a year. How much is each one of those running?
They're running close to 400, just shy of 400 a meter.
About 40,000 a year. And then we have 2 water meter readers, is that correct?
We technically don't have any water meter readers right now, so.
So it's our
we're-
staff that's going out and reading the meters instead of having.
Right, we have 2 to 3, depending on what our daily activities are doing that. We're limited in our number of handhelds, so we couldn't do, one big push to do a read because we only have a certain number of handhelds that actually hold the data for them to input the reads.
And then, and you're saying that the RFP, you're proposing to go out there to replace the whole 3,800 essentially in one shot?
And the potential 200.
Right,
Yes.
okay, thanks.
George Capps?
Well, it sounds like a good deal, but, slowly but surely, technology is kicking the working man out of a job. But my question is there gonna be a request for a rate increase on water? I'd like to pin that down right now.
No, sir.
No request for what rate increase?
Not due to this, and that's the whole reason why I asked her to bring this forward for the council, is so that the council was made aware of, one, what we're trying to get accomplished. I echo your comments. Yes, it is rather unfortunate that you guys were very progressive leaning forward a couple years ago, and that the reliability of the meters that we have purchased have not been there. It has been a frustrating issue to deal with over the last couple years, because not only is it taking the meter readers from the Public Works Department to go out and do this and reread and everything, but also the billing folks within the city that have to worry about that. And all of a sudden you have 260 rereads in a month. That's not very fortunate. We've gotten in touch with the vendor, and the vendor's come out and made repairs and improvements to it, but still, that shouldn't need to be occurred at the same time. So yes, while it is rather expensive, we will probably more than likely recommend that we do a general obligation bond paid for by the utility department. If what Gina says is correct, that we have 3,800 and we plan on a couple hundred more, that's 4,000. And if it is $1.5 million, that's about $375 per meter, which is not a bad price, actually, compared to what we're paying for right now. This is a project, I applaud Public Works and what she's gotten accomplished in the short time that she's been here. This was a project that was originally something that I had asked Simon to take a look in, didn't get it done. Deck started taking a look at it. There are Badger meters out there, Neptune meters out there, both of them that have the reliability. They've already contacted a couple different other cities around that have implemented this type of improvements. Like I said, push a button, within 5 minutes, you have all the meter readings done, and it's not anybody's gone outside to do it. So I do believe that in the end, it will be cost savings to the city rather than cost expense. But to answer your question directly, no, there is not an expectation to increase rates due to this.
Well, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How much money is left in the MTBE fund?
It was around $1.5 million.
How much?
Last I knew, it was about $1.5 million.
And I say that for a reason. You know, a lot of people don't realize, but that money came out of a lawsuit because of what
Yes, sir.
what they did to our water. And I was one of these people that drank water that tastes like gasoline back in those days. And that was a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
There's not too many people here that remember that. But that's what that MTBE money was for water. It was over water.
And that is a possible, again, that's up to the governing body to determine how best. The only thing that we, quite honestly, sir, did not want to do is put our name and our reputation out there that we're seeking an RFP and then not actually going forward with it. That does not look good. So we just wanted to tell the council, normally I'm not a big fan of getting the RFPs and RFQs approved, but I wanted to make certain that council had a chance to take a look at it. They understand that the direction that we're proposing, so that way when one is selected and it does come back at somewhere around that price range, that the council is well aware that this was coming down the line, and that we will figure out a way, be that general obligations bond or MTBE funds, to pay for it. So.
Well, understand, I'm not judging one way or another.
Yes, sir.
That money from that lawsuit was over water, and it probably should have went to the water department, but the council can do what the council wants, and that money was used for a lot of good. It was used for a lot of good, and it's probably still be used for a lot of good, but it's just one of those items that's out there.
Yes, sir.
Because I know we just raised water rates, and I'd hate to go that way again. That's all I got.
Thank you, George. George?
Yeah, I really like this thing that you've got going here. I think it's progressive in nature, if nothing else. It's an upgrade from what we have. We kept changing water meters. Seemed like every year we were doing something. Question is on the online portal, are the citizens, the residents of the home, they're gonna have access to that?
Correct.
Will they have it like an app, or is it from you guys if they request it?
It'd be through an app provided by the vendor.
So that gives the homeowner an investment in how much water they use, but also there's an alarm that goes off if it's leaks or high usage, is that correct?
That's correct.
See, I think that's a win-win, because I've had people say, well, I know I didn't use that much water. Well, you can go to the app and see exactly how much you used. Thank you.
Brandy?
I've looked through my packet and I don't see your example RFP. Can you get us a copy of that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Is that all, Brandy?
I'm okay with going out for RFP, but like I said, I'd like to at least kind of see what it is. But I'll make a motion to allow the staff to advertise an RFP for a complete water meter replacement.
Okay. I have a couple pending. Now, Ben's next. Do you want to second it?
Y'all second for
That'd be
discussion.
better. Thank you. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thank you very much for going out and doing this. I do guess, more of a general comment here is, and it's even been reiterated, I think one of the great things about Park City is that we have been progressive in nature and how we look at development and everything like that. I think we're also seeing, though, that progressive can also kick us a few times. The paving at 61st and Jacksonville, sometimes getting ahead of ourselves without testing a little more thoroughly can sometimes cause a lot more aggravation. So, with that, and the system that we're looking at, or that you're looking at, sorry, do we have any length of testing or metrics to go back on to see their performance or reliability?
So one of the things included in the RFP, and I apologize that you guys didn't get that in the packet, is that this is to have been launched at least 25 times in similar situations. So nobody should bid unless they have that history. AMI is a newer technology, but it's not completely brand new. So it is a tested and proven system.
Thank you.
I pushed my button to make a motion, but that's already happened. But I wanted to say that this is one of those hidden costs the city has that nobody gets to see, but it benefits everybody that works in this building, and it's long overdue. And are you looking at Neptune as being?
We're open. Neptune's a great brand. Census is a great brand. Badger, I would expect Badger to respond to this bid. So we're just definitely being open-minded
Okay.
to the responses we get back.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay. Ben stepped out and he was our second, so I was just going to see if he was going to vote. But all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with Councilman.
I had a question, John, I didn't get it in.
I'm sorry, that's my
Oh,
fault.
it's okay.
Ask your question anyway.
You know, I'll tell you, I support this. But I do have a question. We used to have contract people or part-time people doing this. Do we not do that anymore? I know I listened to you talking about public work people reading the meters. We used to have contract people doing that. Have we stopped that? Yes, sir. Okay. That answers my question.
Okay, we'll move to item 7, discuss and consider approving a contract with Cox Communications for internet, TV, and telephone services. Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. As you may know, I supervise our IT functions, Steve Hubel. Staff is presenting for your consideration a contract with Cox Communications to switch from traditional copper line internet service to fiber optic internet service. Cox Communication is the city's current provider for telephone, TV, and internet services. This includes public access channel 7. For quite some time, we've experienced intermittent problems with our internet service due to slow speeds and data packet loss. This has caused several problems, such as difficulties with streaming city council meetings, difficulties uploading video from police vehicles to the cloud, difficulties connecting police vehicles to the computers in the car to the PD server, inability to connect security cameras at McLean Park and the Senior Center, and then difficulties with the cameras at Sherwood and maintenance buildings. And finally, intermittent slow speeds on desktop computers. Our Cox Internet service at the City Administration Center is currently located on a residential node rather than a commercial or business node. This means that we are sharing the same internet service with the residential area north of the administration center. Some of the wiring is located on Evergy electrical poles. Electrical voltage is leaking onto the Cox lines and is creating interference with our internet service. For these reasons, Cox has not been able to consistently provide the speeds that are stated in our service agreement, and we are experiencing significant data packet losses. The proposed contract with Cox will provide fiber optic internet service for the following facilities: the Senior Center, City Administration Center, Sherwood Public Works Building, the Maintenance Building, and then 3 sites in McLean Park: the Community Building, the Baseball Park, and the BMX track. The city's 2 LED message signs will continue to be serviced by copper lines because we're not having problems with those. Cox is able, or they are willing, to waive what would otherwise be very significant costs to install fiber at these facilities. Although the proposed speed is slightly less with fiber than our current service, it will be faster and far more reliable because it will be fiber optic service and it will be located on our own business node. Telephone service will continue to be provided by Cox as it has in the past. AT&T is not able to provide fiber. We did go through quite a long process with AT&T, and they are not able to provide fiber optic internet service at our facilities, and there is no other provider that can provide fiber. Therefore, this is a sole source contract. Our current cost for Cox telephone and internet service is $3,610 per month. The switch to fiber will raise this cost by $795 a month to $4,405 a month. Staff recommends the approval of a 60-month contract for Cox Communications for telephone, TV, and internet service at a cost of $44.05 per month. The contract will guarantee the price will not increase during the term. It also provides the standard non-appropriation clause so that future councils are not bound by the contract. One thing about the 60-month contract, Cox requested that in order to install the fibers. As I mentioned, they had significant expenses in order to install fiber, especially at the park. That was one of the biggest expenses for them. And I think primarily due to the difficulties that we've had throughout the years, they agreed to waive that, but they wanted a 5-year contract from us. But again, it does include a non-appropriation clause, which is required by law. Fiscal impact would be the increased cost of $795 per month for fiber, which is an unbudgeted expense for the remainder of this year, but we do intend to include that as part of the budget for next year. So I would be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Ben?
Thank you, Chief, for looking into this there. I mean, obviously, we can save money and not get quality service like we're running into issues here. I was trying to watch the meeting last time and couldn't follow it because there's no sound. So things that help serve our constituents better in terms of something like this, especially when we're talking about transparency in local government, I think is vital. So I am very much in favor of this. I don't see where we need to spend a whole lot of time on this item, so I'd move to approve and authorize the mayor to sign and execute a contract with Cox Communications for internet, TV, and telephone services in the amount of $4,405 for 60 months.
Thank you. Charles?
Yeah, I'll second that, but I also have a question. When they install the fiber, will they go clear back to what you would refer to as their head end, or do they just literally go back to the pole with that?
It's my understanding they'll go clear back to the nearest commercial node. So we'll be connected directly to their main line, in other words.
Okay, yeah,
And that's, I've seen the map of that, sir, and it's north of here, the neighborhood north of us.
yeah, I didn't want it just to go back to the pole and we're still sharing, what he means by that sharing. That means when the way it is now, when the kids all get out of school and all get on their iPads we're sharing that bandwidth, and all of a sudden, everything slows down. And we have emergency lines, that need to stay up and stay running, and not having a static IP address is also a big problem, so that'll all be corrected with this, so I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you, Charles. Jim?
Ben, I'd like to see if we could modify the suggested motion just slightly, because it says in the amount of $4,405 for 60 months. That makes it sound like it's $4,405 for 5 years total. It should be $4,405 per month for 60 months. Just a little typo, so.
Good point.
No, I like my. Yes, I will amend that to 4405 monthly for 60 months.
I could see somebody asking about that 6 months from now.
The second okays that.
Thank you.
That'd be a good deal.
Yeah, I like $73 a month, way better.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Item 8, discuss and consider approval of a contract with Enterprise Fleet Management for 2 Ford police vehicles and installed vehicle equipment. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the background, the police department needs to purchase 2 Ford Police Interceptor Utility, otherwise known as Explorer, patrol vehicles to replace 2 other patrol vehicles that have reached their age and/or mileage limit. We're asking for the council to proceed with the lease/purchase of these vehicles and the related vehicle equipment through a contract with Enterprise Fleet Management. And I might mention that Mr. Justin Harper is here with us from Enterprise. I appreciate him being here in case you have questions that I'm not able to answer this evening. I also want to note that we're really playing catch-up in the police department due to the shortage of vehicles and the difficulty in ordering them over the last 2 to 3 years. And I intend to come back at the next meeting to present another 2 vehicles for your consideration. But in April of 2022, we originally received approval from the council to purchase 2 patrol vehicles and equipment. Those vehicle orders were later canceled by Ford, and the dealership reordered the replacement vehicles at our request. The vehicles just recently arrived at the dealership. Since the time of the original orders, the price of the vehicles and the installed equipment has increased due to inflation and the fact that they're now 2023 models as opposed to 2022s, which were canceled. Enterprise has submitted quotes for 2 vehicles, and this is using the cash fund model. And if there are more questions on that when we get a little further, I'll be glad to answer them, or Justin will. Enterprise has submitted quotes with the cash fund model. Essentially, this means that the city will be funding the purchase up front as opposed to making payments and paying interest. The price for each Ford vehicle is $46,837.64. And I might note that's roughly $9,000 to $10,000, I believe, more than what it was last year. Enterprise works directly with our upfitter, Superior Emergency Vehicle Equipment in Andover. The cost of the installed vehicle equipment is $15,343.93. The cost for each Ford vehicle, including the installed emergency vehicle equipment, is $62,181.57. The combined total for the 2 vehicles with the equipment is $124,363.14. Enterprise Fleet Management will also charge a monthly fleet management fee of $95.70 per vehicle. The fee covers such items as consulting, which includes monitoring the market on behalf of the city for the best time to sell the vehicle based on its condition, the value, and the existing market at the time. They also provide through a purchasing cooperative known as Sourcewell, pricing for each vehicle purchase. They will also handle the new vehicles, which would be a significant benefit to us in terms of personnel, time, and expense. This includes purchasing the vehicle at the dealership, delivering it to the upfitter, coordinating with the upfitter, and delivering the finished vehicle to Park City. I might note that attached to this document was a quote for one vehicle plus equipment, so you're only seeing one. The other one is identical to this. I just didn't have it at the time that we needed to submit this for your agenda packet, so I apologize for that. The fiscal impact for this, the combined cost for the two Ford Police Interceptor utility patrol vehicles with the installed equipment is $124,363.14. And again, Enterprise Fleet Management will charge a $95.70 per month per vehicle management fee. These expenses will be paid from the Vehicle Replacement Fund. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. George?
Well, that monthly fee, I can't quite wrap my mind around that. The monthly fee charged for each vehicle. Sounds to me like you can call them up and they'll answer your questions and do things like that, but what physically are we physically, what are we getting for that 95?
So I think if it's all right, I'll have Justin Harper maybe answer your question more in
Okay.
depth.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Capps. Yeah, so the monthly fee is essentially our consultant fee to outsource through Enterprise Fleet Management. So part of what we provide is the logistics of procuring the vehicle, getting it upfit, getting it delivered, so handling all of that. We also provide license and title, so we handle all of the registrations for the vehicle. And then as Chief mentioned, I will meet with the city on the entire portfolio of the city, not just the police vehicles, to provide recommendations as to when to cycle those units. So bringing in the new units, selling the previous units.
Well, I don't, that's not personal with me, and I don't mean this to be personal, but it seems to me like we're already paying for that. And it seems like we're paying you again for sitting at a desk and answering questions and doing things like that. It's what it appears to me.
I'm not.
Per vehicle, per vehicle, I could understand maybe that for the whole deal, but for each vehicle we have, and you're talking a good chunk of money.
Yeah, so I don't know where you feel like you're paying for that elsewhere, but that is where essentially that's where our fee.
We're getting our vehicles through you, and you're getting all that.
Well, we don't get anything on the vehicles, so on, $60 is the Sourcewell agreement. So on these particular vehicles, we have a $60 markup per vehicle, so our profit is made in that management fee.
So you're making your profit on the 95 something a month?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
we don't mark the vehicle up, correct.
Pardon?
We do not mark the vehicle up on the front end. So the purchase price of $46,000, that is the Sourcewell agreement. So that's the cost of the vehicle is $48,000, less the incentives, the government incentives that you qualify for, which is $1,650 this year. And then we have the dealer markup. So the dealer makes $525 on that, and we mark it up $60. So then our profit is made in that management fee. That's where you're paying
Well,
Enterprise.
I'm just a dumb old guy from Oklahoma, but it don't make sense to me. But if that's how you make your money, so be it.
Thank you. Tom?
One question, and that is, in the past, we have stuck with one brand because we wanted to be able to use the equipment when we buy another brand and put it in it. We're not doing that anymore. So has there been any cost-benefit analysis done on other makes as far as price and availability and stuff?
You want to take that or you want to go ahead?
Yeah, and Justin may want to chime in on this as well, but we're really, at this point, we're really constrained by what's even available. And so we put our name in the hat, so to speak, for both Dodge and Ford police vehicles. And as I mentioned before, these Fords were essentially ordered about a year ago, maybe a little less than that. And same thing with Dodge. It's been a number of months since, probably 8 months since we put our name in on some Dodges. So as far as the equipment, honestly, by the time these vehicles are miled out, they go to they redesign the interior. A lot of that equipment it won't fit.
Well, I understand that, but.
And then, not only that, but some of the exterior equipment, light bars and so forth, they weather. And so we can, a lot of it we can get on like one more vehicle out of it, but there's a lot of it like the cages and the consoles and things like that that won't fit by the time we
The
switch.
point I was trying to make is we're sticking with one model here, and then it's the benefit of using the equipment over. We're not doing that anymore. We're buying new every time. So I just want to make sure we're getting the best value. And if it's based on availability, that's a different story. But if you can buy a Dodge for $4,000 less, why aren't we buying Dodges? You know, is why I'm asking.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean,
We, like I said, we put our name, we put our hooks into every pond to see what fish would bite. That's kind of where we were at, because it was getting very, very difficult to buy police vehicles. And so we put our name in with both Dodge and Ford.
Okay.
2 with each, and Ford canceled our first order. They canceled thousands of police fleet orders nationwide. We weren't the only ones to experience that, so we had to turn around and we ordered some more. So we've kind of put our name out there for everything, hoping we could find something. And of course, everything that we buy has to come before you for approval, naturally.
well, I understand, but I didn't know if we were trying to stay brand specific or if there was, that's all that's available.
I
So-
think he's saying we don't have a choice anymore. We get what
And
we
I
get.
understand. I just want to make that.
And really, the choices as far as what's actually out there in terms of police pursuit-rated vehicles has gotten very, very small.
Okay.
George Glover.
Yeah, Chief, on this, the 2 older vehicles that are outdated, do you sell those on Purple Wave, or what do you do with them?
Might be a good time for Justin to chime in.
We use them, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so I'll actually address your question and also answer your question. So a large portion of the value that we bring is our expertise in the resale market, right, and selling these vehicles on the back end. So we will evaluate if the current equipment can transfer to the new vehicle. So fast forward, these are 3 years down the road, 75,000 miles. In some cases, we will sell that vehicle as is with the equipment to the next entity, and so you'll recoup a large chunk of that cost that you felt on the front end here. What we can transfer, often we will try and transfer to the new unit. So in the current market as it is, to Chief's point, we're trying to acquire vehicles to get the old stuff off the road. And over the last 2 years, it's been put the hooks in the pond, see what we can get, transfer what we can, go new where we need to, sell as is. To your point, I have some clients that will Purple Wave some of their older units, but on these city-owned units, the intention is to have us sell them. So at the time of selling a city-owned unit, there's a $300 fee at that point. So we make the $60 on the front end, we make our management fee during the lease, and then we make $300 basically to cover the title transfer and all of that on the back end of the lease. So the intention is that we will sell the 2 retired units, and the returns then will come back to the city.
So the value is what you could get today as opposed, let's say, 5 years ago, as far as what you would get for that vehicle?
Are you asking me for the number of what we would sell it for? It depends on the specific vehicle. The 2 that we've identified, I believe, are 2017s, if I'm not mistaken.
There was 2015 and 2017.
The value back then is different as opposed to what you would get for it now as far as selling it, correct?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
2017, what it was worth then, and what you get it now, being this is 2023, the value for you to sell it or give it to somebody else is a lot different.
Certainly, yes. Yes, correct.
Thank you, George. George Capps, are you up again? I can have you up again.
I didn't know I had it pushed.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
I owed you one anyway. So we don't have a motion yet. I would entertain a motion to approve or deny.
Make the motion to approve and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute a contract with Enterprise Fleet Management for 2 Ford PIU patrol vehicles with installed police vehicle equipment in an amount of $124,363.14 and a monthly fleet fee management of $95.70 per vehicle to be paid out of the Vehicle Replacement Fund.
Thank you, Charles. Brandy?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Charles, seconded by Brandy. Seeing no further comments, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, item 9, discuss and consider approving a resolution determining the advisability of water distribution improvements for Air Capital Industrial Park 5th Edition.
Yes, sir. The attached petition was filed with the city clerk proposing improvements to the city sanitary system. Sanitary, this is water, though.
Water distribution.
This is water system. So excuse that typo. The petition was signed by the owner of record of more than one half of the area liable for the assessment for the proposed improvements, and therefore, the petitioners are requesting such improvements be made without notice and hearing as required by KSA 12-6A01. The improvements include a water distribution system, including necessary water mains, pipes, valves, hydrants, meters, and appliances to serve the area described as the improvement district, all in accordance with city standards and plans and specifications prepared for or approved by the city engineer. The estimated or probable cost of the proposed improvements is $220,853, with the said estimated cost to be increased at the pro rata rate of 1% per month from and after the date of adoption of this resolution authorizing the improvements. The improvement district to be assessed for the cost of the improvements is lots 1 through 3, Air Capital Industrial 5th Park, or Park 5th Edition, Sedgwick County, Kansas. The method of assessment of all cost of the improvements or which the improvement district shall be liable shall be on a fractional basis, where Lot 1 will pay 2/16, Lot 2 will pay 10/16, and Lot 3 will pay 4/16. The apportionment of the cost of the improvements between the improvement district and the city is 100% for the improvement district and 0% for the city. Staff recommends approval.
Jim?
I don't really have any questions, so I would move to accept the petition and approve Resolution 1155-2023, a resolution determining the advisability of making certain internal improvements to the city of Park City, Kansas, making certain findings with respect thereto, and authorizing and providing for the making of the improvement such findings.
Thank you, Jim. Brandy?
Second.
John, I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
When you divvied up the amount of how much they pay, I'm just curious on those numbers. How did they come up with that? I'm just, 2/16, isn't that 1/8? And 4/16, isn't that 1/4? I'm just,
Want to make it so that it adds up to 16/16 for those people that aren't real great with math.
advanced like me.
Yeah.
Elementary math. Okay, that just bugged me, okay. So,
It's one of those things, sir, that even in this particular case, the engineer of record asked, how do we want the petitions? And it's like, well, that's more in your area of expertise. You can divide it up on a fractional basis. You can divide it up per square foot or equally on individual lots, and they chose fractional, so.
all right. Thank you very much. We have a motion by Jim, seconded by Brandy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Move to item 10, discuss and consider approving a resolution determining the advisability of paving improvements for Air Capital Industrial Park 5th Edition.
Yes, sir. The attached petition, again filed with the city clerk, proposing improvements to the city's streets and roads. The improvements include construction of pavement of Big Street from the south line of of West 61st Street north. That should be north. To the center line of the abandoned railroad, with the drainage to be installed where necessary to serve the area described as the improvement district, all in accordance with the city standards and plans and specifications prepared for or approved by the city engineer. The estimated or probable cost of the proposed improvements is $728,740, and again, on a pro rata basis of 1% per month after the adoption of the resolution authorizing the improvements. The improvement districts remain the same as the last one for lots 1 through 3, Air Capital Industrial Park 5th Edition. And the method of assessment is again on a fractional basis with the exact same. Lot 1 is 2/16, Lot 10 is 10/16, and Lot 3 is 4/16. 100% against the district, and 0% to be paid by the city. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Ben?
I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve to accept the petition and approve resolution 1156-2023, a resolution determining the advisability of the making of certain internal improvements in the city of Park City, Kansas, making certain findings with respect thereto, and authorizing and providing for the making of the improvements in accordance with such findings.
Charlie?
Second.
Okay. Any further comments? Motion by Ben, seconded by Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Discussing, item 11, discussing consider approval of a temporary tax and tag office for Sedgwick County. And Brandy has a comment.
I'm a member of this council and also the elected county treasurer. I'll be recusing myself from this discussion.
Thank you, Brandy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Council members. I'm Randy Bardale. I'm your Chief Deputy Treasurer here in Sedgwick County, and this evening I'm going to be speaking on behalf of our County Treasurer, Brandy Bailey, and presenting a proposed MOU between the Treasurer and the Park City. So just, we're basically asking to occupy that vacant workstation up there in the pay station area in the front of the building. Just to give you a little background, as you very well know, some of the past treasurers over the past decades used to have like a single main tag office where all the primary work was done. And then we had satellite offices out in the community, which kind of served different districts or different areas within Sedgwick County. The past treasurer made a business decision in 2018 to close down the 3 satellite offices and open one larger office, which we now call our Kellogg office, located over at Kellogg and Edgemore. Almost immediately, we got a public outcry from the areas all over Sedgwick County that wanted their local substations back open. They wanted them open because they didn't want to have to drive that distance. They didn't want to have to wait in longer lines. They liked that being in the community, the tag offices where they could feel more, I guess, homey, I don't know. Anyway, as you know, we had the one out west, our Chadsworth office. It was located up around 21st and Mays. We had one out east that took care of the east side of Wichita, the Brittany Center up at 21st and Woodlawn, and then one down in Derby. So like I said, in 2018, a lease was signed by the past treasurer, a 10-year lease that would bind us into having to use that facility. And it's scheduled to expire in October of 28. So we still have over 5 years until we can do something else. When Brandy took office, almost immediately, she got a hold of county legal, wanted to know if the contract was binding, whether or not a past treasurer could tie the hands of a future treasurer in making those kind of contractual agreements. We got the opinion from legal that yes, it is binding, and rather than to gamble taxpayers' money in court to see if it was or not, we're going to go ahead and just stick with the Kellogg office. It was also her idea to come back out into the communities, because like I said, we still, 5 years later, we're still having a public outcry from citizens who like those little substations in their own communities. And so she came up with the idea to reach out to public partners here, our local government partners, to see if perhaps we could occupy a space in the city halls or in some kind of city building or facility that there's a lot of traffic in, citizen traffic. And that's why we're here tonight, is to ask about that, to be able to occupy that station out there. We did visit with Mr. Fox and your IT, Steve? Is that right?
Steve, yes.
Steve, yeah. We visited with them about a month or so ago, I guess, just kind of run the plan by them to make sure that we wasn't going to intrude on any of the normal daily business routine of Park City. And we felt like we ironed out anything that might be a problem or anything. So basically what we're getting down to is that we want to occupy that workstation out there. We will provide our own office supplies, computer equipment, phone, wireless internet connections back to Sedgwick County without touching Park City domain. We'll secure our own documents and work separate from Park City work, so we'll have our own safe or filing system or whatever so that we don't have to ask to put our money or our documents in your safe or your file cabinets. It'll be completely independent. Our clerks will maintain the office hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the scheduled work days. And tentatively, what we're looking at right now is on the second and third Wednesday of each month that we would occupy this space and provide this service to the citizens of Park City. We're currently working with our QLIS, which is our virtual waiting line vendor, to establish an appointment-based module that would just be strictly for Park City. So people are not just going to be able to walk in and you'd have lines of people going out of your, in the parking lot full. What we would have is you would have to sign up and make an appointment to be able to see our clerk. This clerk is going to be able to accept tax payments as well as tag-related stuff. Any form of tag transactions can be done. Title work, handicap placards, renewals. We would limit because of the time it takes to process a title, we would limit that to 2 titles per appointment per individual. Our clerk would have an assigned lunch period from 11:15 to 12:15, and no appointments would be available for anybody to grab at that time. We'll provide our own signage after it's approved by the city administrator. That it's okay with him, provide our own signage. We ask that Park City provides the electricity to be able to power our office equipment at no cost to the Sedgwick County Treasurer. Like I mentioned, our tag and tax service is full service. We'll be able to process any kind of transaction here. We'll do tag renewals, handicap placards, lien releases. We'll accept personal real estate and delinquent tax payments. And we estimate that we're going to probably serve 18 to 22 people per day. Now, if somebody comes in and they want to just drop off a tax payment with us and we would process it and mail them their receipts and whatnot later, it could cause more people to come in, especially during tax season. But we know that the first week of the month and the last week of the month tends to be higher volume for us. We would want our clerk back, and trust me, you don't want all the customers flocking down here on the last day of the month. So we've already talked that out. We'll work closely with Mr. Fox and, any kind of wrinkles that may, if we've got this all planned out, there's going to be wrinkles in it. So, we're gonna work on any of those as they come out. And we just think that this is a win-win situation in that if one of your residents can just come down here to your city building, take care of a title, if they get sent away because they don't have the right documentation, then it's a drive home, from the city building to wherever they live in Park City. Instead of being sent away from a Wichita office, now they have to wait in line for who knows how long. It's just a win-win for the citizens of Park City. Plus, it lets us get back out into the community and start establishing those relationships and some of that more personal experience rather than the factory that we've created with our Kellogg Tag office. So, yep, I believe that's all I have. So I appreciate your consideration and I stand for any questions.
If approved, how soon do you plan to start?
We're looking at July 1st. We're still in the process of receiving various pieces of equipment having it configured, setting up a test environment in the tag office to make sure that it works without coming up here and having to make multiple trips by IT or.
So I noticed like when you go to the tag office and get your renewal or get your work done, they have a kind of it's a fee, like a location fee or something like that. Would that still apply for here?
It's my understanding it will.
Okay. All right. Jim?
Well, I welcome and kind of love the idea to have, this available for our citizens. So that the question, I just have questions, the devil's in the details on something like this. This would be available to everybody in Sedgwick County, right? Not just Park City citizens?
That's true. It will be. We would put the link, we've discussed putting the link on the Park City website that would actually take them back to Sedgwick County to the appointments. But yes, anybody actually could. We're not going to advertise it to
Sure.
everybody.
And it's just, you're talking about one desk space? Is it
Yes.
just one employee?
Yes.
One person? So love the idea, kind of appreciate this, but I guess I'm a little hung up on doing it for free. This is Park City tax dollars that are paying the electric bill and, the cleaning bill and all of that. To me, the devil's in the details, and I'd probably like to hear some discussion on, I don't know if I like it for free, but I sure like it.
Sure.
Okay. Tom, I'm
I've got
sorry.
a question. Will this be set up like the tag office now where you clock a time in on your clock, on your phone and you'll get called up? And in other words, I can make an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning for 10 o'clock.
That's
And
correct.
come or something like that. And then you will collect property taxes, you said.
Yes.
That's nice. That was nice to go down to Woodlawn and Kellogg and not have to pay them. It'd be nice to be coming here. And you're just 2 days a month?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're looking at the Wednesday. Our understanding is that you have something here on Thursdays that we don't want to interfere with, and so the second and the third Wednesdays.
Ben?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, to get around. So I applaud, the treasurer and staff for thinking outside the box of what we've had and doing that. I do, agree with Jim that I do get hung up on the free part, just because, again, this is taxpayer dollars. And though, obviously, primarily, it sounds like would be pushed towards Park City residents in terms of our website and everything. It's obviously open to everyone to come over here. I don't think anybody wants that perception that y'all get kicked out. And obviously, something like this, a great program like this, will get some of the attention of media and things like that. So I think that there should be some sort, especially knowing that there is a fee collected for this exact type of purposes in there.
What
Yeah.
I failed to mention was that this is this is a pilot project here. The intent is to also occupy a day of the month, 2 days of the month down in Derby, Mays, Goddard, and Hayesville. So I think that what we're trying to do is just, this is a pilot project here, but we would like to be here and Derby by the end of the year, and the other three by the middle of next year.
Are there discussions with the other cities concerning that already?
Haven't
or
talked to
Okay.
anybody.
Okay.
I mean, this is our
This
first.
is, okay, perfect, no, that ends. So I mean, I think something to that degree would be good. The other part, I think, that you mentioned was working with QLIS on there to set up appointments. Did they anticipate QLIS being ready by July?
Yes.
Okay, and how would that work if I wanted to pay a property tax? Because,
Same thing, you could either walk in, drop it off with us, and walk back out the door, or make an appointment to come in and pay your taxes.
and QLIS will
And it'll be, we're in the process now of training these individuals. What we have right now is we have tax clerks and tag clerks. And so we're in the process of training a hybrid so that they would be able to answer any kind of question, process any kind of transaction. We're going to refer them, obviously, for certain things to go back downtown. For instance, in the event of a foreclosure situation where somebody's gonna go down and redeem their property on a foreclosure. A little more technical, a little more steps, a few more steps, so we would encourage them to go downtown and make their payment, but for the most part, 99% of the transactions that we process, either in the tax office or the tag office, we'll be able to do here. And I might just say, I understand the free part, but I will say that the convenience and, just providing that service to your citizens, of them being able to come into your city building rather than drive all the way downtown, I think that kind of offsets it. It's a service government's providing.
Yeah, I would agree, especially on the trial period, and you'll note in the memorandum of understanding, either party can cancel with 30 days of written notice. So if we decide we want to discuss that at a future, when they see they got a good turnout and we see what the numbers look like, we can maybe revisit that. But I do agree that it's providing a service. I mean, the lights are on anyway during those hours. The doors are open anyway, so. Ben, were you done?
Yeah, I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Charles?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, you're wanting to do this 2 days a month
Yes, sir.
at this time? Yeah, I kind of anticipate that you may need to do more than 2 days a month. I may be wrong, but that might be something that'll have to change. I think also the actual cost to us is minimal, or as close to zero as you can get, really, because it's just a little bit of utilities, and you can't measure that. But the cost savings to our citizens and the convenience to our citizens is worth a lot. And so I'm going to tell everybody this was my idea when they find out about it.
Thank you, Charles. Tom?
Well, I'm going to make the motion for you. I move to approve the MOU with the Sedgwick County Treasurer's Office.
Okay. George Glover, do you want to second that?
I'll second it.
All right. You got the floor.
All I want to say is I think it's a great opportunity, not only for you guys getting out in the community, but establish relationships with those communities. We have a lot of folks here who may not have transportation, or elderly can't get, like you said, way down to Wichita to access some of these tag offices, the long lines. So I think it's great that you guys are reaching out. I think it probably could have been done a lot earlier than this, but I think better late than never. So I would encourage you, and if you can, provide more days down the road as far as coming. I think that would be of service as well, but I'm all for this. I second it.
Okay. Had a good discussion on this. Seeing no more lights on, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Oh, 7-0, I'm sorry, yes. My math isn't as good as I thought.
Jim's trying to catch you, I think.
7/8.
Yes.
I need to excuse myself for the remainder of the meeting.
Yeah. Okay, item 12, discuss and consider the employee wellness program.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Approved in 2016, the Employee Wellness Program is designed to improve and support the health and fitness of our employees. The program includes fitness programs, health screenings, preventative care, and other activities such as stress management, education, smoking cessation programs, and wellness assessments. The benefits of an active wellness program to our employees in the city include improved employee health behaviors, reduced stress, increased productivity, and improved morale, engagement, and attendance. And there are many studies that show this as far as related to wellness programs. One facet of our employee wellness program has been that the city's participation or cost share in an employee's fitness center membership. The city had several years ago approved $100 annually to be used to offset the cost for employees for their fitness programs. Currently, there are 2 clubs that are included in that. It's the YMCA and Impulse Fitness, which is located here in Park City. It has been recommended to allow employees to be reimbursed for memberships from other fitness centers that may be closer or more convenient for them, closer to the places where they actually live, and increase the city's cost share in this reimbursement to $20 per month. One of the things that I would like to also add to this is really a factor that we have seen when it comes to our recruitment and retention as well. It is really a tool for us. The fiscal impact for this, it is unbudgeted. If assuming that all 58 full-time employees participated, the maximum increased cost would be an additional $8 or $120 annually and could be absorbed in each of the department's personnel expenses. So staff would approve or recommend for your approval of this.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion. I think this is a great opportunity to expand it. We have employees that are all over the area, and one size does not always fit all. So rather than hampering them, I think it's great to hopefully encourage people to find a facility that fits their needs and allows them an opportunity to take advantage of that. So I make a motion to increase the city's cost share reimbursement amount of the employee wellness program to $240 per employee annually to be paid out of each individual department's personnel expenditures.
Charlie? Second. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
All right, next we get item 13 is executive session. Doug?
Mayor and council, I would suggest that you recess into executive session to discuss the possible purchase of real estate in the vicinity of 61st Street North and Hydraulic with the city administrator, the assistant, the governing body, the city attorney, for a period of 10 minutes? 5 minutes? 10? 10 minutes.
Yeah. Charlie?
So moved.
Okay, Brandy?
Second.
Motion by Charlie, seconded by Brandy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, it's 8:45. We're back in session. No binding action was taken. We're now down to governing body reports. Brandy.
The only thing I have tonight is just a reminder, CCUA meets this Thursday at 4:30 here at City Hall.
Thank you, Brandy. George.
You know, one thing, I really like the idea of the tag office here, but I tell you, I could predict what will happen. When Sedgwick County License Bureau got busy, and it got very difficult to go down and get your driver's license renewed, people start going to Harvey County, going to Newton. And it was real handy. You get right in and out. But then the next thing you know, they got so bogged down that they started charging big money. If you wanted to go up there for the convenience, you had to pay for it. And I could see the same thing happening here. If you put this, people look at that and say, oh, I don't have to drive downtown. Because a lot of people, old people like me, don't like to drive downtown, don't like to go down there. And they would jump at a chance to do this, and it would grow.
I will say, though, that by statute, the treasurer is only allowed to charge a $5 facility fee. So that's the max I could charge at any satellite office.
Okay.
Sorry, Tom.
Glad to hear that northbound to westbound, 135 to 235 is opening up next week. That's going to be wonderful. That will make the evening commute north great. But the south commute in the morning will be just as nasty as it's always been. So that project's going now, so hopefully within a couple of years, we'll have that fixed too. I've had a couple questions about striping on 53rd Street, where we've got turn lanes. One of them, we have a turn lane onto Primrose, and then right behind it is a turn lane going north up to the Quick Shop and Arby's in that lane. They're painted, and people are coming through the first left turn lane, which is going the other way, and cutting the corners. And they're doing it on Valentine down there too, where the 53rd Street makes a left turn start to make a left turn going south on 53rd Street onto Broadway. People are stopping there, but the turn lane's starting, and people are getting upset because they have to go around people trying to make a left turn onto the road. And I was asking if there was anything we could do about striping on that, or look at it, maybe make it a little safer. I'll talk after the meeting. I just wanted to get that out. That's all I got tonight.
Thank you, Tom. Charles?
Several of us went to the SCAP meeting last week, which is the Sedgwick County Association of Cities. And again, I thought it was very informational. They did elect Pat Stivers, he's the mayor of Mays, to be the chairman. I think the last chairman was from Derby. And Pat's I don't know if you know Pat, but he's a really nice guy, and I think they do a good job at that. But I would encourage anybody who'd want to go to that thing to holler at us, and it's every 2 months? Yeah. But anyway, I think it's worth the time to go. That's it.
Ben?
I'm not passing this time.
Chuck?
I know. I want to say thank you to our Public Works Department, National Public Works Week, and give a shout out to all you all do for us, keeping us safe. Last week was police officers. I want to say thank you as well for that. I missed the proclamations a couple weeks ago. Just want to say thank you all for what you do for our city. It is very well noticed and appreciated. So to all y'all, thank you. I did get an opportunity. I was absent 2 weeks ago, and I had the opportunity. I have the opportunity to serve as an honorary commander at McConnell Air Force Base alongside the operations group. And so 2 weeks ago, I was selected as a participant in a civilian trip to Dover Air Force Base and got to tour the facility there. And to see the care and the work and the detail that our servicemen and women do on a day in and day out basis is incredible. One of the most sombering parts was the second day we toured the Armed Forces Mortuary Affairs Office. And if you're familiar, you watch almost any TV show that's military-based, you have some familiarity with Dover, or if you follow, all of our fallen soldiers or fallen military personnel are taken to Dover. And that's where the body is prepared and families are reunited with their loved ones. And they walked us through the process of how that's taken, how that happens, whether it's from the family coming in, receiving the body and moving, or if it's the way that the military handles it. It's just very awe-inspiring to see the dedication of our men and women there. So it was an incredible opportunity. And just want to give a quick thank you to our men and women who do serve us, and also to John for his phone there. But no, thank you, though, to our men and women who serve in uniform. We appreciate it.
George?
Yeah, Park City Serve Day is this Sunday from 9 to 12. We meet at New Anthem Church. You'll get a T-shirt, I believe, also a lunch at the end of the workday. It's a great opportunity to serve, not only serve the community, but to serve others. I would encourage all those who thought about doing it to do it and give it a try. We help a lot of people who, for the most part, can't do it themselves. So it's a great opportunity to serve. Also, our Park City Fishing Derby, we doing our final touches on that. That's June 17th from 9 to 11. Chisholm Point Pond on North Grove. This past weekend, there were a lot of people pre-fishing the Derby. They had just stocked it. A lot of people, a lot of fish were caught as well. So if anybody wants to get out and get your spot or come out and pre-fish it, come out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of kids were out there. A lot of people were out there fishing. So I would encourage those who are interested in that to come to that as well. Thank you.
Charlie?
I want to say congrats to Aaron Miller again, Chief. That's a good promotion. I worked with Aaron when he was at the county. We were both public information officers, and he's outstanding employee, outstanding worker. Shout out to Public Works during Public Works Week, and also as we approach Memorial Day. Thank you for all those who served, men and women served in our armed forces, and thank you for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and the families of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to help give me the freedoms that I have today. So I thank everybody for that. My prayer goes out to them as they continue to serve here and abroad. That's all I got. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to pass along my thanks to several council members I know participated in the blood drive yesterday, and also several of our city staff members, and also for Sean for pounding the pavement and getting several businesses in town to send their employees in. So I say a special thanks to Kais Industries, that there was quite a few of their employees in here. I believe they were even on pay status while they were here, and maybe even got a free lunch out of it. So I think that's great. And, you know, he said 92 pints, that's just 11 and a half gallons of blood. And you just think about how much of a difference that makes for people. So Sean mentioned this earlier, but the July 4th parade is coming up. So I don't know what council members have decided for this year. I know it's an election year, and sometimes we don't ride together during it, so people can do their own. But I just want to throw that out there, that it's a little over a month away, so we probably want to start thinking about that maybe at our next meeting if we want to do anything. And then Sean, I was going to ask you Beaumont. Did they do the walkthrough on Beaumont Street? Is it open now?
Yes, sir. It is. There was two very small areas that they've got to make some improvements to, or repairs, but it's open.
Okay, so for the council, I guess that's our temporary road that connects Beaumont with Prairie Hills is now open, so. Thank you. I'd entertain a non-debatable motion. Ben?
So moved.
To adjourn.
To adjourn, yes.
Okay, Ben motions, and do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Ben, seconded by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.